So you talked there and before about kind of like operations talent, like do certain things like connect our sometimes fragmented data silos, like between Salesforce and this tool. You actually talked about building AI teams from operations talent. And what
Right.
did you mean by that?
Well, the key thing I mean by that is I set up a pillar within the support organization of my current company that is about AI and governance, right? Which probably historically has been called training and quality or knowledge training and quality, right? But we sort of pivoted the naming convention of it to be focused on what they're really thinking about now, which is AI. But what I'm assuming a lot of other leaders are facing is we didn't get just like this new big pile of money to go hire people that have 15 years of AI experience, which is kind of laughable to think about in general, right? But like you see a lot of postings out there, like must have 15 years of, AI experience, which I find kind of funny. So what we've had to do is we've had to look at our team as it existed and look at the talents and the skills of folks and see where they might like take to this because we're taking people who are historically support operations delivery people and asking them to change what they're doing, move away from their normal thing of coming in and firefighting and being the hero and solving the problem and then moving on to the next one and coming in and being more strategic and more thoughtful about, hey, how can I take a technology and build a layer so that a lot of these questions don't even need an engagement from a person, right? How do we just like simplify it and constantly be questioning process, the technology itself, how we have people deployed, right? It's just a very different skill set. It's much more strategic. But the good news is, Steve, in today's marketplace, it's an easy sell because people are inundated by the news of AS. So really, we just said, hey, look, we're all figuring this out as we go.
Yeah.
So, right, like, so you're going to be on the front, like this, there could not be a better resume builder than being on the front line of this and figuring it out as we go. But the last point I would make is there's been a lot of coaching and collaboration and conversation around it's okay not to know what you're doing. A lot of people are just like, but this is freaking me. I have no idea. What are you even talking about? I'm like, yeah, we don't either. Right. Like, let's do this. Right. So that's what makes it fun. But also, there's a good bit of like, support and coaching that's required. You can't just say, hey, so and so, go figure that out. So I have a senior director on my team who's come from his background actually is delivery, but he's got a really deep data management sort of data architecture experience. So that's been very helpful. And that's one thing I would say is people in these roles generally are more successful if they're interested by data and understanding how data works together.
Such an interesting thing. None of us got into customer support CX thinking we needed to be data geeks.
Right. Well, I remember when I was early in my career, that was a function, right? It was a whole function. It was, and maybe it's some bigger companies it still is, but the size of the company I'm at now, that sort of sits within each function and so forth. So yeah, none of us really thought that we would be data geeks. That's for sure.